Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending the webinar this afternoon. The title of the webinar is Putting a Premium on Risk Management. Our apologies, we had a bit of a technical issue there before, so we're just going to restart the process. My name is Brett Raven. I work for a company called Solentive Software here in Sydney. We have another guest speaker today, Mr. Craig Musgrave, who's the CIO of the Doctors Company based out of the US, and we will get to him at some point later on in the presentation. So the first thing I'm going to do is just talk a bit about InRule as an organization, as a product family, and what they're all about and how they work in the insurance industry. And the next step will be to pass over to Craig to have a chat about his experience with InRule and how he came to decide on InRule as a business partner for them. So just briefly, who is InRule Technology? The organization was founded in 2002 in Chicago. The first client was InRule Insurance, who are a large insurance underwriting organization based in the US. 2003, the first major release of InRule was put out to marketplace, and there's been 4 major releases since then. There have been incremental releases in the last few months that have added some quite interesting technology that I will talk about in a couple of slides down the track. One of the good things about InRule Technology is they're a Microsoft Business Process Alliance partner. They are the sole business rules engine representative in this Business Process Alliance, which is a steering body that will define how the technology is applied in Microsoft within the organization for business process management, workflow, and that sort of thing. InRule has representation in Sydney, London, and Chicago, and with regards to the Sydney representation, Solentive Software, who I represent today, we are the exclusive Australian and New Zealand InRule partner. Now, I should also mention here that InRule and Solentive are both Microsoft Gold partners. Since this is Microsoft-based technology, it's quite worthwhile to have that on board. Okay. First thing I'm going to talk about is the InRule Architecture, so what the product family has to offer. Once this slide will come up, it might be a bit of a delay for you. In the top left-hand corner, you can see the rule creation and maintenance parts of the family, so the offerings that we have around maintenance and creating of rules. IR Author is one of the key tools that you will use to create rules, maintain rules, and verify the rules with IR Verify, which is a component built within IR Author. You can also build your own custom authoring UI, which is all based, again, upon the IR SDK, which is the software developers kit that is provided by InRule to you to be able to integrate with InRule. On the right-hand side, we can see business application integration. You can either use InRule with a smart client application or web application. That means a desktop or web-based application. Through the SDK, will then communicate into the lower aspect of this slide here, which is the catalog service, where the rules are stored, managed, and then across the server, which executes the rules, either in process or out of process using SOA. Now, one thing I'd like to discuss is something new that's come out recently, which is something called IR Word. InRule has taken the time to create an integration process to allow people to author and maintain and test rules within Word 2007 from the Office suite. What you're able to do, if you can see on screen here on the left-hand side, you can actually see you're within a document itself. And you can define rules, print the rules off, have them handed to business users who are not actually using the IR tools, and have them verify things and so on. So it creates an integration between the business logic, the business rules that you're creating, and the actual text that will be used to describe how that works that may not be part of the rules themselves. Okay. I should also mention one other thing. We've been notified that IR Studio is now out in the marketplace as well, which allows integration between InRule and Visual Studio tools. Here we have a slide that talks about InRule Insurance and why InRule is such a good value offering for the insurance industry. As you most know, the insurance industry is all about managing risk, and with risk comes the ability to mitigate risk through the use of rules, in this case business rules. How do you manage risk in an insurance organization? Through underwriting, automating the underwriting process, defining rules around how you rate an organization or an individual with regards to how risky they would be when you take them on from an underwriting perspective, how to manage claims, the claims processing process, the workflow, the decision-making processes, and so on. So by having a very robust rules framework behind the scenes, you're able to manage the risk around how underwriting, rating, and claims management occurs. Of course, compliance across governing bodies has a set of rules associated with it, so you need to be able to adapt to the compliance changes as we go along. in the world. Things like SOX and so on will come up, and you need to react to the way those compliance issues will change. And then, of course, the standard developer, any kind of organization that has developers that use something like InRule will actually see an increase in speed and flexibility with their ability to deliver systems more quickly to their users. They can develop them more quickly, and they can easily maintain the business logic that defines how the organization will use the system and interact with it as well. Okay. Who uses InRule at the moment? What I've done is I've focused on the top 3 from the insurance industry. There are dozens more users across the world that are using InRule at the moment. But since we're talking in the context of insurance industry, I thought we'd have the Doctors Company on board, who we had the guest speaker of today. InRule Insurance, again, a huge underwriter globally, and Five Group, who are a large insurance brokerage firm based out of the UK. So these 3 organizations are using InRule on a daily basis, and it's quite effectively. You can see here this is actually a quote from the Aon Corporation underwriting manager. This just gives you an example of how much time and effort you can save by maintaining business logic or changing logic within an insurance organization. So as you can see here, the quote basically defines that what normally takes a programmer of experience within the organization 120 to 160 hours to develop logic for a rating program, an actuary can actually build and test the same logic within 14 hours. So that's a dramatic cost savings, a dramatic savings of man effort and of time to get things out into the marketplace. So what I'd like to do now is I'm just going to hand over to Craig Musgrave. He's actually been gracious enough to dial in from his evening time over in the beautiful Napa Valley in California. Craig will discuss a little bit about his organization and how they use InRule, and then we'll summarize with some questions at the end. So Craig, over to you.